Hello and welcome back to another episode in the Tommy Wave Budget Deck Series. As you might have seen, today we're going to be looking at Druid. I think Druid's a fantastic class to do as a budget deck. Lots of amazing options at common and lots of replaceable interchangeable pieces. Once again, we'll go through quickly our criteria for the budget deck series. So we have no set dust limit, we don't want to put any arbitrary numbers on things. We're going to focus on the core of a deck. So this will hopefully give you the engine or the right pieces to start with, and then you can build around that from there. Anything that I add to that core is certainly not the be-all and end-all, and feel free to play around with these things as they might be different to where you are on the ladder. You might have some better inclusions. We also want to have a reasonable upgrade path, so we want to try and choose some higher tier decks or decks that are performing well, and make sure that with the addition of some dust, some extra cards, we can reach that deck. We're going to try and prioritize cards that aren't rotating. Hopefully in the next couple of months we will get a new expansion, and that means that all of our Year of the Kraken sets are going to be rotating out, which means Karazhan rotates, which is very good for all of you budget-focused people out there. Alright, over here. So, first thing I want to do is take a look at some good-performing Druid decks. And there's a couple out there. We've got Big Druid, we've got even some Jade Druid out there. Spiteful Druid's been performing quite well lately, but a lot of those are focused on a core of legendaries and epics, and Aggro Druid is actually fallen off a little bit, but is probably the best option for us in terms of a budget deck. So we'll take a look at the standard Aggro Druid that I've pulled off of Vicious Syndicate. So you can see here the top of the curve is at 5 and not much around there. The focus of an Aggro Druid deck is to get on the board quickly, usually with quantity rather than quality, and then we're going to use cards like Power of the Wild and Mark of the Lotus to buff those cards up. So for 1 mana we're hopefully getting +3/+3 or +4/+4, and a 1 mana 4/4 is pretty good. So this deck has got some Hungry Crabs in there, obviously with the prevalence of decks like Murloc Paladin. We can gobble up some Murlocs and have a really huge tempo swing in the early game. This deck also plays Vicious Fledgling as a must-answer threat, which will either take some focus off your other minions, or if they don't deal with it, it can really snowball quite overhand. What we were trying to do with like the Frothing Berserker in our warrior deck. And right at the end we have Living Mana. Living Mana being the best way for us to recover from a board sweeper, and also a way for us to just put so much damage on the board. So it's a really versatile tool. Unfortunately, it is an epic, but this I think is the card that if you have them, or if you want to spend a bit more dust on the deck, this is the one to aim for. So we'll also take a look at another list that I pulled off of Hearthstone. This is Batmorn's Aggro Druid. This one's trying to do a little bit... it's a little bit more expensive. It's doing some interesting things. We have Bitter-Tide Hydra and Leroy Jenkins at the end of the curve, so just other huge threats. So focusing less on going under our opponent and more on having those big impactful players. And against some decks that don't have like spot removal, they're trying to trade into things or burn them. Bitter-Tide Hydra is just a huge girl. Look at her, wonderful. But yeah, other than that, all the kind of regular stuff. This one's got a branching paths in there, which seems pretty interesting. Nice versatile card. But yeah, so those are the two decks that I've chosen to kind of highlight as decks where you could progress into. So let's take a look at our core. So our core is mostly the cards that buff our team. So Power of the Wild and Mark of the Lotus, the ones that buff our team and reward us for going wide. And also our most efficient threats. So a lot of these decks play a bunch of 1-drops, but Diamol and Enchanted Raven are probably the best ones there. Obviously Enchanted Raven is from Karazhan, and if that's not something you're willing to craft, there are plenty of other 1-drops we could play. Things like Argent Squire, Abusive Sergeant, if we need a beast, even Emerald Reaver is pretty good. But as far as the core efficient creatures, Diamol, Enchanted Raven, Direwolf Alpha, I would say are the key ones. We've got Savage Roar at the end. This, considering we don't have living mana, Savage Roar is probably going to be our main way of finishing games. Mark of Yashaj in here as well. We've got to make sure we have a nice critical massive beast, because just the +2/+2, especially with all these 1-drops, is one of our best ways to keep the board against Paladin and against Mage, as it is quite difficult for some of those decks to remove a 4/4, or in Diamol's case a 3/5, because they only have such limited spot removal. So Mark of Yashaj is going to be really good. It keeps your engine going as well, because you do get that card draw most of the time. So let's see how we filled this out here. So I've gone with the Fireflies and some Snow Flipper Penguins to complete our early game. We could probably fit some more 1-drops in here, and I'd almost like to try like running a 1 of Abusive Sergeant or Acarus Veteran, just as another way to put some like an immediate way to put some damage on the board. Though even Glacial Shard could be good with all these aggro decks out there, as a way for us to kind of help us get back into the game. I've also chucked some Crypt Lords in there. Having this just big health taunt guy makes it really hard for our opponents to trade into us, and particularly protects cards like Vicious Fledgling or like a buffed up creature quite well. Speaking of Vicious Fledgling, do have them in here. This is a great dust expenditure. It's a rare card that you can probably slot into a lot of aggro decks, and it does have the ability to just win games completely on its own. It's fantastic. So if you've never dealt with the adapt mechanic before, there's a bunch of different adapts that we can get. Things like +1/+1, or +3 attack, +3 health, taunt, poisonous, divine shield. Can't be targeted by spells or abilities, stealth. But the main one that we want to get is Wind Fury, because that'll let us attack again on the turn that we hit with this, and also the following turns let us get 2 triggers, so it can really get out of hand quite quickly. I've also chosen at the top of the curve to put in some Fungal Mancers. This is probably the one that I'm most unsure of, and I think a lot of these budget decks I've really been struggling to figure out what the best end of the curve is, whether it's something like Fungal Mancer, Cobalt Scalebane, or even there were a couple of something like Cult Master I was thinking about. Cult Master I've played in Druid before, but I've gone with Fungal Mancer on this one because we do have a lot of board presence. If we land a Fungal Mancer with 2 minions on the other side of it, it could just be the end of the game. But definitely have a play around with this with the end of the curve. Try it out with Cobalt Scalebane if you feel like that's a bit better. And also, if you have some Argent Defenders, where is it? Defender of Argus, rather, not a Defender. If you have some Defender of Argus, this is probably better than both of those options. Fits the curve a bit better, and their taunt is really, really relevant. So if you've got a couple of those, definitely slot those in, but no stress if you don't. Lastly, didn't have a lot of flexible slots, so I've just gone with 2 Spellbreakers here just to fit the curve, though admittedly the Iron Beak Owl is a beast, so it does synergize with our Mark of Visage. But I think because it is a 3-drop and comes down after we want to be playing this, I think just having bigger health on the Spellbreaker is a bit more relevant. In fact, bigger health is kind of why I want to play Cobalt Scalebane instead of Fungal Net. So, but other than that, I hope that kind of explains all the card choices there. We're going to be trying to go under people and around people and hope that they don't Flame Strike us. Is the main thing. And also, we're probably going to lose our board to Duskbreakers 100 times. But I'm feeling positive today. So let's get out there and let's get some W's. Alright. We are here with a game. Hope you all are enjoying the different look. I went out and bought a floodlight, so things are a bit more illuminated. And I'm just going with the earbuds today. Part of putting this floodlight in the house is that it's really hot. Oh my gosh, this is not a good showing. It's exactly like last week, where the first game out of the rank is we just get one of these hands. But this is I guess the risk of playing a mix of spells and creatures. Sometimes you draw spells, sometimes you draw creatures. And if your creatures aren't good with if your spells aren't good without creatures, then that might be bad. Freezing Trap? Wandering Monster. I might fire this one off, actually. So as next turn we probably want to try and play our Fungal Metza. My highlight extension isn't on, which oh, Innkeeper's not working. Sure, we'll have a look after this. So we'll attack with, if we do this then we dodge explosive as well. Is it freezing as well? Wandering Monster. Oh, what? Ah, jeez. What? Were they dead? How much health were they on? They just got a 5/5. How low were they? Oh gosh. That was exciting. Oh, it's just everything happened at once. It was a bit overwhelming. Alright, we'll be back with that. Alright. And they're here with another one. Really interesting that our opponent conceded that game. But I'll take it. Take that W. Alright, so this is something that I'm not too sure of, is if we should be keeping the Snow Flipper Penguin without another 1-drop. Especially against a class that has a 1 damage hero power. I might actually keep the Fledgling with the coin. Didn't really want 2 Fledglings though, but... Didn't really want 2 wolves either. Yeah. Definitely, this is definitely the matchup that we want our 1-drops in. So we want them to be spending their backstabs and stuff on these minions and not on these minions. Having life steal so early is going to be super brutal as well. I wonder what the matchup data says. Probably should have, like a positioning thing, should have put this Firefly over here. Because this is, we're more likely to want to trade this off. Aggro Druid against Kingsbane Rogue. 50-50. Just cautious of our opponent having a vanish here. And trying to not like play this kind of stuff. Though getting the coin out of our hand probably would have been good, so we wouldn't mill. Blade Flurry. Do people slot Vanish a lot? I've seen, yeah, especially in Kingsbane Rogue, I think Vanish is not an unreasonable addition. Although now I've been seeing some more Blade Flurries coming out as well, so I don't know if they're dropping Blade Flurries for Vanish or whatnot. Yeah, Doomerangs, Blade Flurries. Alright. Well, let's see if they have another Blade Flurry. I'm pretty happy to take this gamble. It does feel like in the long run we are going to lose out on their their value. Ooh. There's the second Blade Flurry here. Ooh. They wouldn't have attacked there though. They would have attacked first. Alright, that's what we got. There's definitely a line that says we shouldn't have played the mark. Lyra. Okay. So now if that Blade Flurry, it's super bad. So we want to try and not get blown out by Blade Flurry. This only adapts when it attacks a hero. Just buff as many things to 6 as we can, I guess. Although I guess if they have 1 Blade Flurry, they have 2, right? Now they have Vanish. Yeah, okay. Vanish was really bad for us. We might have one more shot, I think. So, you think this is a hard matchup there? I don't know. The data seems to suggest that it's 50-50. Like, there are definitely some turns where, I don't know, Kingsbane is just one of those decks where if it has a great start, there's not a lot you can do, especially having lifesteal so early. Like, imagine this game if they had maybe one more buff or something early on. So 2 saps. think I just want to clear that, just to be safe. What's her hero power? So, her hero power is you get a shadow reflection in your hands during your turn, and the shadow reflection is just a copy of the last card that you played. So if you sap, the shadow reflection becomes a sap, you can play it. If you then play like the coin, the shadow reflection becomes a coin. So you just get to double up once a turn. Yeah, it is pretty good. It's pretty strong. So now they play a 0-cost Shiny Finder to go get the Kingsbane again. Or not? Alright. Let's see that Blade Flurry or the Vanish or whatever you got. I think that's probably the best Savage roll we're gonna get. Oh, there's the other Vanish. Although, yeah, it is interesting to note that because they changed they've gone into Death Knight, they can deck out. Usually, you can't deck out because you'd have the regular rogue hero power, so you could just destroy it every turn. This is a strong play. Have they already played a Doomsayer this game? If they have another one, it's going to be pretty savage. I'd say that's probably put this game out of reach for us. Yep. Yep. There you go. So that was actually a really tight one. I think there were some decisions that we could have done differently, but it definitely feels like there's some play to that matchup, and maybe that was a hand that we were supposed to beat or something. Admittedly, living mana in that matchup might not be so great if all of your boys get vanished. You just sit there with 2 mana, handful of all these things. Alright, another Druid. So we'll keep this Fledgling, because if it's Spiteful, they won't have swipe. Great hand. Great hand. Okay. No one drops good. Getting Wrathed is also very good. So they have to have the other Wrath here. else we get to start pecking. We have to start licking their face with our happy puppy. Cool. So +3 health puts it out of the range of swipe, which is very good. It's actually, yeah, I should have thought twice about that. Maybe poisonous would be better. So it beats through a bit harder. Okay. These fledglings haven't been great for us today, but you know what? I really hope your fledglings work out just fine for you. Please. Ugh. We're currently 0 for 5 on Vicious Fledgling Wind Furies. Moonglade Portal. Alright. Number 6, right? Please. Oh gosh. Very funny. But are they dead? They're not dead. Just put them on one. Just make it so they have to have, like, they have to gain health or armor and put a taunt into play and clear our board. Is this the forest? Sorry, I was looking for the 5-0 forest. No. Woo! Nice. 2 wins. Happy with that. Alright. I'm feeling good, so we'll go for the 4th game. We'll see if we can get another W. It's good to see so many beautiful people in the chat. Alright, Hunter. Looks like Hunter is a generally unfavorable matchup. Particularly Spell Hunter. Generally unfavorable. But we have a good start. So I'm actually going to sandbag this Snow Flipper. Just don't want to die too hard to Explosive Trap. Though admittedly, if we wanted to play around that, we should have played the Druid of the Swarm in face-up defense mode. Is Poisonous? Poisonous would be attack mode, right? Ooh. That is a pretty good draw. Like surely, if you have explosive, you play explosive there, not coin, animal companion. Yeah. Sounds like someone has the right to bear arms. Alright, am I going Taunt here, or am I going Poisonous? Probably Taunt, right? Thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. I'll give you one of these. Ping one on the other side, in case they're more, since they're more incentivized to kill the 4-1. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I guess my thought was more like if I'm going to be trading into a Misha or something, I want them set up like this. But then again, we could just trade the 4-1 into it, so. This is one of the games where the Fungalmancer looks quite good, but at the same time, like a Cobalt Scalebane would have looked just as good. Nice, nice. I'm really happy with that. That was great. Let's take a look at the deck one last time. See what we liked, what we didn't like. Overall, I'm really happy with the success, going 3-1, and I think overall we actually went, I didn't record the last one, but overall we actually went 6-5 in games, 6 wins, 5 learns, staying positive. But yeah, I think a couple of games of Fungalmancers looked really good. The Spellbreakers, maybe we haven't played enough games to get a proper look at things, but we never had the Mark of Yashaj thing come up. Like, we never cast this without a beast in play, I don't think. But maybe we could look at shifting those. The Vicious Fledglings, whilst even though we didn't hit Wind Fury once in 11 games, it was still really good. Still a fantastic card. Just imagine if it did what it was supposed to do. Crypt Lord felt really nice. I don't know, overall everything felt pretty good. The Snow Flipper Penguins might be the only thing I'd look at shaving down. You know, we do have access to so many great 1-drops, Argent Squires even. that might be worth considering. And the Fungalmancer looked good, but I'm still convinced maybe even trying a 1/1 split of Fungalmancer and Cobalt Scalebane could be interesting. Or obviously, if you have them, like this feels really good. But yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoy the deck. Let me know what you want to see next, or if you've got any hot takes on the budget Aggro Druid archetype. And until the next one, have a good one. Bye.